Good morning, everybody. My name is Giovanni Caccamo. I'm an Italian artist and songwriter. In the last couple of years, I worked on ideas and visions for a better future. I wanted to help myself and all the people to free our dreams. In these gloomy times of war, violence, disparity, superficiality, and pessimism, it is essential to remember that darkness always holds the precious opportunity to spark a light. All of us, young people from the world, have always been able to find this light. How? If we have confidence in our ideals, if we perceive the potential within us and the energy we are able to generate, we can make it. All too often, we give up in the face of our vulnerability. We are overwhelmed by a virtual world that features perfect lives, making us feel worth next to nothing and never up to par. We seem to believe that we are always connected to others, but we are islands. We live in a world where everyone talks about young people without listening to us. Our frail bodies make us suffer. We are shy and hide the diamonds of our soul for fear of being judged. Let's never underestimate ourselves. Let's never think that there is something or someone in the world for whom we are not good enough. Let's not lose hope. Let's believe that nobody can steal our purpose and that our flaws will become our strengths. Let's seize the day, carpe diem. The youth of all times have changed history. We are living in the most productive age, the age of love and opportunity. Bach wrote his Toccata in Fugue in D minor at the age of 20. Michelangelo sculpted the Pietà at 23 and began painting the vault of the Sistine Chapel at 33. Joan of Arc successfully led the French army to free the city of Orleans at only 17. James Watt, at 20, developed the first steam engine. At 24, Michael Jackson released Thriller, to date the best-selling album of all time. Steve Jobs founded Apple at 21. Malala at only 17 said, "A child, a teacher, a book and a pen can change the world." And she became the youngest Nobel Peace Prize winner thanks to her enduring battles for the right to education. Marie Curie at 34 isolated the weight of a radium atom, a revolution in the history of science. Lewis Carroll at 33 wrote Alice's Adventure in Wonderland. Walt Disney at 27 invented Mickey Mouse. But what about us? It's our time! It is our duty to roll up our sleeves and think what are the most pressing changes we need. What would you change about the society you live in and how? What is your word for change? Thousands of young Italians in universities, prisons, and refugee centers have answered these questions in writing. Today, I address the same questions to you and to all young people from all religions, backgrounds, gender identity, and social classes to build together the Manifesto for Change, our global book that will collect the stories, the longings, and the outlooks of the new generations, recreating a new humanism and marking the course of a possible future. My word for change is gratitude. Imagine our lives as the control board of an aircraft, with 100 buttons of which 95 are green and 5 are red. The 5 red buttons are the more or less relevant problems that catch our attention and poison our days. They are the cause of a latent and corruptive unhappiness. The pandemic sadly turned off one of the 95 green buttons that we had ignored until then, the button of freedom. We started to long for what we had previously taken for granted, going for a walk, having dinner with friends, hugging a loved one. It was at that very moment that I asked myself why I had never valued that green button before. Why had I never given enough value to those actions that are so basic and yet so important to my everyday life. When anger, negativity, and alienation take hold of us, we must stop, close our eyes, and breathe. We can choose to continue focusing on the red buttons and complain about what we don't have, or we can change our perspective and start being aware of the green buttons, learning to give them both identity and value. How to do this? Through gratitude. Every night before we fall asleep, let's think about at least 10 small or big things that made our day special and for which we feel thankful. A walk in the park, a colorful sunset, our favorite ice cream, the care that a friend can offer, or a memory from our childhood told by our grandfather. Change must start with the awareness that our choices have the power to change the course of history, and that there is no future without roots. The way you live, the way you talk, the way you vote, the way you perceive the world has an impact on everything around you. For months now, I have felt torn by the horrible silence about the war, the climate crisis, our indifference and carelessness. Yet, when I look at nature and at creation, I realize that my mission is to be the voice for peace and harmony every day of my life. I must tell myself that I must have the courage to look for that small firefly in the corner of the room, even when the pitch black frightens me. Believing in peace means learning to solve the conflicts in our lives. We must learn to forgive and apologize. We must fill our blood with love and kindness. It's time to be brave. It's time to understand what we love. It's time to chase our dreams. It's time not to do what is easy, but what is right. It's time to rediscover our roots and return to converse with the masters. It's time to get rid of what does not belong to us. It's time to understand that we are not alone. It's time to listen to the others and stand up for the rights of all. It's time to believe that diversity is a value. It's time to learn not to be scared of death, but to be more focused on our life. It's time to understand that there is no victory without failure. It's time to ask ourselves, do I really feel alive? It's time to become who we are. Our manifesto needs you. The future needs you. What would you change about the society you live in and how? What is your word for change? Write your message and join our movement by clicking on manifestoforchange.org. And remember, Albert Einstein said, "The world is a dangerous place not because of the people who are evil, but because of the people who don't do anything about it." It's about time. It's our time. Thank you so much.